Hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Evolving View. All spiritual talk, unfiltered. Nothing is off limits. We are so excited to be here tonight. We had some technical difficulties, but we are back and we are set and we are ready to go. So, I want to introduce everybody that's here tonight. Yay. Are you excited? Okay. So, first off, I'm going to go in the circle. Okay. So, Melanie Rose is the lovely lady off to, well, I could say right or left, I don't know, but Melanie is a very skilled, intuitive, psychic, and evidential medium. She is a spiritual advisor and animal communicator, which I just admire so much because it's so hard for me to bring through animals. So I
It's
totally appreciate
fascinating.
it.
Fascinating. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. And then next we have Annette. Annette is a level one. Let's see if I can pronounce all this right. A level one Qigong teacher, an RYT 200 Kundalini yoga and trauma informed yoga teacher, which is like that could be a whole episode in by itself right there, as well as a certified circle leader for the Sophia Code. And thank you so much for being here, Annette. Yay. And then next we have, I'm going in a circle, so just so everybody knows. Okay, next we have Lori Sheffer. Lori Sheffer is an Andean shamanic practitioner trained in the lineage of the, I'm going to screw this up, Caro.
Yeah, that's good.
Yay! And she is also an amazing psychic medium, vocal sound healer, and channeled writer. So, yay, Lori. And finally, we have Derek McBride. Derek is an exceptional psychic, clairvoyant, medium, and healer. And I love what he wrote on his EvolvMe page. So I'm just going to read it like this. You guys, this is the most glorious thing I've ever read. Derek is an exceptional psychic, clairvoyant, medium, and healer whose profound love, respect, and admiration for this beautiful experience of life and the innate yearning to help others realize their true inner light, love, and infinite potential has made him a compassionate psychic healer and spiritual developer. I mean, that's just so beautiful. I mean, the world needs more of you. So I'm glad you're here. Yay. And then finally, I guess I'm Lori Albert. My name is, what did I just say? My name is Lori. I haven't been talking right all day. My name is Lori Albert. I am a spiritual medium, intuitive educator, podcast host, manifestation author, and yeah, that sounds about right. So there you go. So welcome into the Evolving View, where we talk about anything and everything. So we are our what do we want to say? Our subject for this evening. I'm telling you, I'm just gonna be talking
You
crazy
can
tonight.
do
So
it.
just
I think you're doing
interrupt me.
great.
Do it.
You're doing great. You just keep going.
Our topic for tonight is the daily practices of spirituality. So I think that there's so much we can talk about this. We can talk about what our individual spiritual practices are. We can talk about what we would suggest a beginner do as a spiritual. I mean, there's so much we can talk about this. So does anyone want
I
to
think
just jump in and tell us
there's a ton you can do, like talking about your spirituality in your daily life. I mean, that's like covers a lot, and it covers like how you interact with people, how you just go about your day. Like I think it's in the little things is how I feel about it. But what do you think, Lori?
Well, I was thinking about building it when you think about the way you live your life and all of us you got here through practices, through building practices. And I think about the very first thing that I put in mind, when I realized how much I wanted to enhance my spirituality was gratitude. And that was the very first practice I put in place. And at that time, I was going through some tough stuff. And so I began to, when I woke up in the morning, go outside and I started just saying, I'm grateful for one or two things. And then, working in the gratitude through the day. And that was the very first thing I put into place that was conscious. I'm consciously putting this in as part of my spiritual practice.
That's a great way to put it, honestly, like consciously doing it, because it's huge, I think.
Well, and
I
that's what
agree
we
with
all
that.
need to do. We
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
need to consciously do it. What were you going to say, Derek?
Oh, just yeah, that doing something consciously with intention, our intention is so powerful. You know, we can go blindly and do things blindly, and there's just not as much power behind it. But when we put that love and intention, it's just, we are truly creators. And if we're not putting that intention and harmony and love and the gratitude, like Lori said, then it's just not the same. It's just not the same. It's just, it's
It
lacking
has to
energy.
start really conscious, right? When you think about it,
Yeah.
it's one thing, many people are raised in religion and raised with, a practice with God or whatever, those sort of things. But it's the awareness that we bring into it that is so necessary, because it the more aware we become of how we do things and how we do that, the more tuned in we become. And that becomes like almost like one of the basic steps, because the more plugged in you are, the more aware you are, the more conscious, the more you allow spirit into your life.
I agree with
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, for me, it took me forever to learn how to well, I shouldn't say learn. It took me forever to get into the habit, but I took a page out of Wayne Dyer's book of gratitude, right? And he said, he would open his eyes, and then before he would even put his feet on the ground, he would just say thank you. And
Absolutely.
it just starts everything up. Like, it just starts you on a roll, I love that. So I try really hard to do that. I'm not really good. I'm good, and I'll talk your ear off after 5 minutes of being awake. But those first couple of minutes are just difficult.
Yeah.
What about you, Annette?
Yeah.
Well, basically for me, it changes at different times in my life. There was a time when because I didn't like to get up early in the morning, I would get up early in the morning before the sun came up so that I could sit in front of my altar. And I didn't have anything in particular that I was praying for, or there was no real structure to it other than the fact that I'd be totally present in the moment and be thankful. And it would start off with being thankful for all my guides and guardians and teachers and a host of angels that were surrounding me and on like that. And then it was like thankful for my children, thankful for the fact that I'm sitting here in front of my altar and feeling the energy feeding me. And then there came a point where I started a gratitude journal. And it started as simple as, I'm so grateful that I'm sitting on a couch and not on the floor. I'm so grateful that I have a comfortable bed to sleep in and don't have to sleep on a cot, like literally. Those very, very, very basic things that I was grateful for. I was grateful that I had a toothbrush and toothpaste so that my mouth could be fresh when I wake up in the morning. I mean, it's just,
And that always comes in with the zingers. Like, you're so like on point with this stuff. Like, that's so true. I just love it. Like, I think, well,
yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I was gonna say a little bit off topic, but I feel like whenever I think about spirituality, it's like deeply personal, obviously, to each person. And I feel like it all starts with a decision that you're gonna do better, be better. And then for me, it was I kind of went back and I had to think about why I react to things, why I react to things that people say. Why do I feel that way? Why? Because the person is just talking, but I'm reacting, internally, of course, but I'm like, why am I so angry? Like, why does that hurt my feelings? I know this person's not trying to hurt my feelings. So like for me, I had to like kind of look at myself and understand why things affect me the way that they do. And that for me was going back to childhood, probably for everyone going back to childhood, because like that's where those things come from. We just lock them up and we hang on to them throughout our life. And then when you finally take a look at them, you can kind of like open that box and like dissect every little thing and then go through, you know, and we like to call it shadow work. You dig into all those things and why am I mad? Like that's what I hate. I hate it when people make me mad because I'm like, I don't want to feel that way. And it's me doing it to myself, really.
Yes. Yeah.
Nobody
Absolutely.
can get to you unless you let them. So I think for me, it all started with that. And then I was like, I think I'm just gonna, try to be a little bit more spiritual. And then I start thinking about my spiritual self and like, how we're all connected and how we're all one consciousness and how, really we all are so one, in my opinion. So that was a lot, but I just think it's like, like you just kind of do a deep dive personally, I think, and then you start living your daily life. And when you run into that person, am I upset by them again? No, something changed, like I made peace with something, and then little by little, each little thing,
I think that's key though. I mean, we have to have that growth spiritually, energetically, consciously. And it's about being aware of our actions. Like you said, why is this person triggering me? Instead of jumping, wow, this person was an asshole.
Yeah,
No.
jerk, yeah.
Well, what is it within you that's allowing yourself to be triggered? I tell that to my girls, don't let somebody take your power away from you, because only you have the power to make yourself upset, sad, happy. That is all within you. And like you said, that is absolutely key to your growth, to be able to. It's not easy though, absolutely not easy but to be able to check yourself in that moment and be like, instead of jumping back at this person, be able to examine yourself, to examine your beliefs and ask, what is within me? Because the world is a mirror. It truly is a mirror, a reflection for everything that's inside of us.
Yeah.
But it can be hard to remember that in those times. But I guess, like you say, that's part of what spirituality is that constant growth, constant evolution. That's something I say to myself a lot, God, Spirit, let me be the greatest version of myself, spiritually, energetically, greatest husband, father, son, intuitive, whatever, everything. Because if we truly want to evolve, if we truly want to grow, we have to put all that in there. We have to include the spirituality. We have to include the humanness, the physicality, our mental side. We have to include it all, because just like the main mental health, where we're including the mind, body, and spirit, we can't just work on one or the other.
Yeah.
Because we all are, we're all of that.
You just totally reminded me of the book. I don't know if you guys have read it, the Four Agreements.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was sitting here going, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because not taking anything personally is agreement number 2. And I love that, because it's like when you get upset over something that somebody else says, that they have no idea what they said that was upsetting to you. They're just going about their merry way.
Right.
So,
unless they're truly being an asshole, that's different.
Well,
but
then that's a different.
That you can just wipe that away.
Right.
But,
yeah. Right. But I love that one is my favorite agreement of the 4, because don't take anything personally, because we all have our own crap that we're going through in our lives. Everybody has their own junk, that they're, and I just love that, not taking anything personally.
Well, you're right, because I was sitting here thinking, when I read the 4 agreements many years ago, when I started, looking into a shamanic practice, well, the very first one is be impeccable with your word to yourself and others. And, So when I was young, I always thought about being a minister or running an orphanage or, all the things I was going to do for other people, right? You guys can see me running an orphanage, right? Yeah. But what is missing with that is, what am I doing for myself? How am I with myself? And the work I did with the first agreement was so important, because be impeccable with your word. Man, I grew up in a family that slammed each other all the time. The sarcasm, the way that everybody treated each other, and it's like you walk through life like this tall, and heaven forbid you feel like you're this tall, because someone will come along and knock you right down. So you start to use words on yourself. You start to criticize yourself all the time. Or how about the classic, "I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry." Right? And,
Yeah,
and
I'm the
being,
queen of that one.
yeah, right. And being Midwesterner, it's like one of the biggest words out of my mouth. And I said to myself, you're only going to say you're sorry when you mean it, when it's real. You're not going to go to, "Oh, I'm sorry for taking up space. I'm sorry for breathing your air," because that's what happens with that. And then comes to the really hard words to be impeccable with. Like, you ever do something, "Oh, that was really stupid. I'm such an idiot," or worse, and then I correct myself even on that. I do my best not to even allow myself to say those words. And being a teacher, I quickly, at the same time I was learning that practice, was working with, in special ed, and watched my kids and how much they were using negative language on themselves, like, all the time. And so, so it became a huge part of my practice, because I had to not only do it for myself and enhance my own worthiness, but I also needed to model. And that, when you look at your spiritual practice, for those of you who are parents or have children in your life, this is the other thing, is, how are you enhancing the world around you and your family, or how you treat yourself truly impacting those around you?
Absolutely. And like that self-talk, I could drag my son in here and he'll be like, "Yep." I drill that. I'm like, would you say that to your friend? Like, the simplest thing is, like, would you say that to your friend who's having a similar problem? And you'd be like appalled, like, "No, I would never say that." Like, why would you say that to yourself? Like, it's the worst. And, I think that's huge. Like, I'm a huge advocate of self-talk, like good self-talk, like, regardless. But I love that.
And affirmations.
Yeah. Yes.
My
And
favorite thing in the whole world.
affirmations.
Well, words are energy. Our words can be healing, our words can be poison, just on how we use them. But we have to remember that the words are energy, words are vibration. And if we want to vibrate on that higher level, we want the world to vibrate at that higher level. And we need to watch what we say. We need to watch what we listen to, the music, the movies, because everything is vibration. And we think it's so simple, like, "I love myself. I was good today. I did something." It seems so simple, to like carry around a little like card that's laminated. You look at it, "I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm happy, I'm whatever." It seems so simple, but it's so profound, because it's like this. We as humans, we make this life so much more complicated than it has to be. We think we have to go through 20 steps to be enlightened, or 100 steps to be enlightened. No, man, it's not supposed to be. And Spirit says that all the time. I mean, it's really not that complicated. It's just the human mind makes it so much harder. It really is. I mean, I don't remember which one you said. It's in the little things that make such a huge difference. A smile, like Spirit came and I was doing a reading for somebody, and they were saying that, like a smile, a kind word, it's like dropping a small pebble in a pond, and the ripple just across the earth, across the universe. But that's how powerful we truly are. And we forget, through all our indoctrination and everything, just how powerful, how vast, how godlike beings we truly are.
It's true. I love that. Like, I'm that weird lady that you'll see at the store, and I'll say what I think. Like, if I see, I don't want to say what I think, but like, if I see someone at a grocery store and like I see a woman who's striking, I'll be like, you are beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, I'll say it. Like, I don't you know, or gosh, that shirt looks so nice on you. You know what I mean? Like if I think it, I try to just say, you know what I mean? And it's so important. Like people just light up and they're like, oh my God, you know, like why not? Why not say those things?
It's true. I want to say that someone over here, I'm watching the TikTok thing, and it says it's not really that simple though. And I think, you know, at first it is not that simple. It is not. I mean, you know, now I've always been you know, when I buy into something, I buy into it like crazy. And so like, you know, writing words on my mirror and choosing a simple word, or, you know, I'm also the one who, you know, because I hate my body image is the way I looked at my body growing up. I grew up, you know, I was born in the 60s. So I was surrounded by women who took diet pills. Right. And I say that, you know, I remember AIDS before it was a disease. It was a candy. Right. And it was what you took for diet stuff. And I was born into a culture where what you looked like and the size you were was extremely important. And I was just always a sturdy, you know, kid. And that's who I was. And I was athletic. But because I was surrounded by an image of what, you know, the Twiggy era, and I'm not the only one, and it's like, think about that, you know, so that self-image that's coming at us from, you know, our the people around us, from the TV set. And so no, it's not simple, but it's just that one step. It's that one step where it starts with. It's like finding the courage to write a word on the, you know, on your mirror in lipstick, right? I had to find lipstick first of all, which is very funny. Then I realized dry erase markers were. Yeah, and it's just like, you know, those sort of things. And, you know, you get out of the shower. Now here's a powerful one. You're naked and you're looking at that mirror and the word beautiful is written there. Can you stand there naked?
That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, I was looking at that. That was posted by Vicky, and she said mostly the words to self. That's the tough part. And Vicky, it's a practice. You know what I mean? It's not like something you just do. Like you have to. First, you start paying attention to your thoughts. You start paying attention to your reaction to things you do, and then you have to be aware of them, really. And then, you know, when you're like, oh, that was stupid. You know, you have to be aware of that and be like, you know, oh, I need to do that different next time. You know what I mean? Change your words and be like, you know, I look really nice in this shirt, you know, like just, it's a practice. So it's not like something you do just like that. Like it's just everyday little things where you just work on those little things. So is it easy to just do immediately every day? No. But you can do it. Just one little thing. If you pick one little thing that you're constantly on yourself about and give yourself a break, there's your start. And then
and, you know,
something else. Go ahead, Lori.
No, I was just going to say that I teach this and I could talk about the importance of self-talk.
I know, me too.
I know, right?
Let's do a workshop.
So important. You know, that's a great workshop.
I know.
We should really do that together. Oh my God.
Like,
so, but anyway, the one thing that I love that was so super hard for me to do years ago, and I did this many years ago, looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, right? You think to yourself off the top of your head, oh, it's not a big deal. Okay, fine. I'll just say I love you. But then when you start repeating it and repeating it and repeating it, and you're looking at I am going to get emotional just talking about it, but that when you repeat it, you start to really look at yourself and start to really understand things about yourself that is just extraordinary. It's mind-blowing and difficult and beautiful all at the same time, you know, to like really, because it's got to start there, you know, loving yourself. So starting with that is freaking hard.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's again, those little things.
Yeah.
Little things that you don't think anything about. And like, I've done that. I love you in the mirror. And you kind of are looking at yourself like, oh my God, I've never said that to myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
exactly right.
That's a whole thing. Like, honestly. But
Yeah.
I want to hear what Annette has to say, because you always have a good one.
Yes.
You do. I'm telling you, you always say stuff, and I'm like,
And,
Ooh, yeah.
and then I have something for you to focus. We just got Jack's Law said it's true. I think most of us are full of self-hate. And so there's one for you and that to go off of.
Well,
Just
you
put her
know,
on the spot there.
our life experiences definitely can create a lot of negative self-talk. You know, that then kind of becomes the way we see ourselves in general, and which then makes it really hard to look in the mirror and say something nice, because that's not what you see, and then it feels disingenuous to say those things. I happen to know a little bit about that because that was my experience. And it was very uncomfortable to look in the mirror at myself and say, I love you. And it felt awkward, really, really awkward. And for many times I would start and then it would be like, yeah, I can't do this.
Yeah.
because it didn't feel like I was sincere. But what I didn't understand was it was such a new and different energy that I was giving to myself that I wasn't used to feeling, experiencing, particularly from myself, that it made it very uncomfortable. But I think the most important thing is about being really gentle with yourself. It helped me when I had a picture of myself when I was an infant, and I mean, just such a precious, innocent, you know, beautiful little baby girl. And I could look at that picture and feel really, really compassionate and loving towards her. And then it was a process of saying, and that's me, and that's me, and that's me, and that's still me, you know.
and that you're gonna make me cry, darn it.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny you bring up the pictures in that, because I have a picture of myself when I was about 13, 14 years old. My family was going through some really, really rough stuff. And it was my 8th grade picture. It is like, and this is the truth. I look like I'm like going to go jump off a bridge. I really look really depressed and sad. I mean, it's a terrible picture. I hated that picture, and I hid it. And then what happened was, you know, I got rid of my copy because it was a school picture. My mother goes and saves it, and I find it years later. And I was in my shamanic practice, and I was about to burn it, because that's what you do a lot in shamanism, you burn things. But anyway, my teacher said to me, "Oh no, I want you to sit with this picture." And that was such a hard picture to sit with, because that period in my life, I was very angry. I was, you know, it was, you know, the traumas were large. And it's amazing I did make it through that period in my life. And to sit with that particular picture meant going back to that 14-year-old. And that is where I was very grateful for the fact that I had, you know, someone, a teacher I was working with, I had a healer I was working with, because we actually worked on those traumas. We did soul retrievals to go back there, because I carried that 14-year-old around inside me and never really healed the wounds of her, that feeling ugly, feeling unloved, feeling unwanted, feeling like my family's problems were my fault, you know, all the stuff that teenagers do, feeling I have no one to talk to. And it was through that, you know, and pulling that out. And, you know, it's like the threads, right? You're pulling those strands out. And then you get to, I love you. Yes, you little 14-year-old whose hair is awful and that bad Farrah Fawcett haircut. You know, it's like, and you're able to go, I love you. And, you know, that's all she ever wanted. all she ever wanted was to have people say nice things to her and to feel like that she was allowed to take up space. And that's all she ever wanted. So through the shamanic practice, I was able to bring her back and carry her now in me and know that she feels loved. And therefore I feel loved. And it has helped me so much, you know, and as you heal those, you heal triggers, you bring in parts, you know, that more love that you're able to give to those aspects of yourself, the freer you are to love in the present.
Right. And that brings us back to like, you know, you can heal all these little things. And like for people listening who think it's so difficult, again, it's those small things. And that brings you closer to understanding your own spirituality. Because when you don't have good feelings about yourself, it's really hard to really, you know, be the spiritual person and share it with people. You know what I mean? You can't tell people how to love themselves if you don't love yourself. You know what I mean? And that takes work.
And it really, like you say, it really is in the small things, but it really is, there are no small things and nothing is really small. It takes all those little things that add up to being that happy, confident person. So, you know, we say they're little things, but they're really not, because one word can make all the difference. One smile can make all the difference. It's just a matter of doing the things you don't want to do. That's what I've learned. Doing the things that scare you, gritting your teeth and doing it.
Now,
Going
I
into
will
those moments.
say, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, all of this is very important stuff. But if you are on please know that if you're on medication, if you're under a doctor's care, you can't stop doing all that and just move to this.
Right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
It's really, really
Ever.
important.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, that's true, and that's, you know, that's like I remember when I entered menopause, and because let's be honest, our body goes through different changes, and I like it was that whole conversation about what do I need, what sort of treatment do I need, and that's a very personal thing. But we have to, if we're not feeling right, if we're feeling off balance, it is important to be speaking to our medical practitioner, our mental health, whoever we need to, and reaching out. And we all go through those things. And you know, before I entered shamanism, I actually was in therapy at the same time, and it was from therapy I catapulted into shamanism, and I was able to do that, and it, you know, and then move to that next level of the soul retrieval and the healing, which then led me to being able to, you know, there's a time in my life, we have to acknowledge this, that when you're in that deep dark hole of the shadows, you may not even feel comfortable saying I love you. There may not be any space for that. That's why that's okay. And saying that's okay. What else can I do? Where can I start? And let's say the simple things. Hey, maybe it's just smiling at yourself in the mirror, and nothing more than smiling at yourself, putting a silly emoji on that mirror that smiles back at you, right? And maybe it's that simple. And for all of us, it's different because our experiences frame us, and the things we've gone through, you know, the traumas, the good and bad stuff, all frame us. And so we can't say, here's the package, here's how I do it, you should do it that way too, because you are your own unique human being.
Right. And we all have different traumas. We all have different childhoods. We all have different, like we were talking about, those triggers, those things that, you know, when people say things and you're hurt or you're angry, that's going to be different for everyone. And you have to individually look at why you are feeling that, because, and the other person next to you is like, what are you talking about? I don't think they were being mean. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you have to be like, why am I feeling that way? It's just like, and that alone, I think, is just a very profound change for identifying why you do the things you do, why you feel the way you do, you know, just huge for me.
I'm just sitting
I
here
also-
laughing because years ago I would do the same thing. I would like stop myself because I was really going through this whole metamorphosis, right? I would think, okay, why am I thinking this? Why is this happening? Nowadays, when something will happen and I'll like react to it in a way that's like not my norm, I'll be like, wait a minute, is the moon full?
Right,
I
right.
swear to God,
I cannot
all
sleep
weekend
when there's a
long.
full moon.
What's that? What'd you
I
say?
cannot sleep when there's a full moon.
Me
It
neither.
saved my life.
And I will cry and just cry. You know, so all weekend because it was a full moon. So yeah, but it's funny because something was said over the weekend, and I was like, oh gosh, what's wrong with me? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, it's a full moon. Oh, God.
Yeah. And when people say those things, we just internalize it without really processing what we're doing.
Yeah,
And like the whole thing about like approaching those feelings is going through the process of, breaking it down.
Yeah.
Break down why you feel like that. Break down why, Vicky, why you have a hard time like saying those words to yourself, like saying I'm okay. I love myself. Like I'm a good person. I'm pretty, like I'm so nice to people, and why you're not believing it. Like sit down with yourself and figure those things out. And it just makes such a huge difference.
And you
Yeah.
know what's great about this conversation too is that, and I'm going to try and say this the way I really mean it. It's like when people come to us as a psychic or a medium or a healer or whatever, they think that we are on, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they think that we are on this plane where we're like always connected in and we're always blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
guess what? We're people too.
Yeah.
We're not, it's not all, all mediums and all psychics that are living on the planet are humans.
Yeah.
We're
Listen, I
having
want
the
to kill some people too.
What's that?
It's the
Yeah.
I
process.
said, listen, I want to kill some people too.
Right.
You know
It's a
what I
never
mean?
ending process of growth. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Well-
like you said, Melanie, it really does take when you're in those situations, diving into it, not just pushing it away like, oh, no, just push it away. I'm not going to deal with it. You have to deal with it. You have to honor the feelings you're experiencing. If you're angry, if you're pissed off, if you're hurt, honor that, feel it for a second and be like, really dive into it. What is it? Why are these hurts? Why these hurts? Are the words hurting me? What is it? What is it? And like you all have said, it usually does, unfortunately, go back to some childhood or some kind of traumatic experience.
Yeah, I agree. And even those childhood things I found, just as I've been along my journey, those childhood things are a lot of times it's like one thing that one person said at a certain pinnacle point. You know what I mean? It's not always like this relentless, emotional abuse. I mean, a lot of times it is. Many times it is. We all have those. But sometimes it's like one thing that someone said that you really just locked in there and hung on to your whole life. And and a lot of times with people, people say things and I go quiet and they're like, oh, she's pissed off. She's pissed. And I'm like, I'm really just thinking about why I'm feeling the way that I feel. I'm thinking about why I'm feeling the way I feel about you right now. And then I'm thinking about, why is that familiar? Like that's familiar. Like where's that from? You know what I mean? So meanwhile I'm sitting here like this going, and people are like, oh, she's mad.
Really quick, guys, I have a comment from chat on TikTok. We have Vicky who is saying, I ask why all the time, but I can't seem to answer that why. And I think that's kind of an interesting topic. Like the answering the why is a never ending journey. Like there is no end to that. It's the why is the journey, and that answering that question, I thought that's a pretty good topic to start from.
And
Thanks.
I would say
great.
meditate. I would
Yeah.
say if you can't find the why.
And
start
meditation doesn't have to be exhausting.
Yeah.
Now, my wife would say, why do you have to know why? Right? Because I'm the overprocessor and I'm the one that there's one in every relationship. I'm that one that has to take it and keep diving and I drive her nuts. And she's like, you know what? We've done this enough. It's over, it's done. And I don't need to know why anymore, she'll say to me.
Daria is a crack up. I love her.
There is a practicality to that. She is right. Because how much energy did I take up trying to know the answer to that when some things just are not worth it? They've happened. This is 35 years of being in together, and her favorite phrase is, "It's happened, it's over. I said I'm sorry. Can we move on?"
I love that.
There's
Love that.
nothing else I
Yeah.
can say.
Yeah.
And Vicky, the other thing is the why changes.
Yeah.
The why
Absolutely.
changes, like with every, all those questions of why is this, why is that? That will change with every stage of your journey, every stage of your life. Like every interaction with somebody, there's always a different why. So you just kind of have to, like, again, like I think Lori said before, just give yourself a break, or Annette said, be gentle with yourself,
Yeah.
give yourself some grace. And it's okay if something just pisses you off. You just, and you're like, I don't know why. Like, it's okay to not know. Just understand that pisses you off, and eventually it will come to you.
Yeah.
Melanie, you took the
Sometimes-
words out of my mouth. You're really, like, we're in constant change. We're in constant flux. We're in constant evolution. So why one day is not going to be the same. That why isn't going to be the same another day, because
Yeah.
our perception is going to grow. We're going to look at things differently, and we're going to evolve. So one event in our life can have multiple lessons.
Right. And there will be a
that's the
new
thing.
why.
Yeah. And instead of asking why, just, what can I learn from this? That way it's more, nothing actually bad happens in your life. They're just lessons or opportunities for growth. And that right there, for me, is absolutely key. It changes your whole personality, changes your whole perspective into this entire experience, good or bad, is for my benefit. It's for my growth in somewhere in the middle. Just like we go to school to take tests, this life is like one big curriculum. And if we look at it that way, there are no good or bad. It's just experiences for our soul to learn and grow and evolve and ascend and become more loving and powerful and just bliss.
Right. And if you can't answer that particular why at that particular moment, if it's just not coming to you, it's okay to just let it go. Right. And then you sit with it when it comes up again. If it comes up again, you sit with a little bit, and then eventually it's going to start clicking, and you'll be like, like last time this happened, and this time this happened, and those two things are similar because of the, like, it's okay to let it go. You don't have to, like, I can't figure out why, and like let that suck the life out of you. Like, let it go.
And the thing that comes to mind is two things, and having worked with a lot of people at the end of life, and people do things that, are bad, or perceived as bad. That's what I'm going to say, perceived as bad. They do things that either negatively impacted their own life or the lives of others, some more serious than others. So now you have a choice, when that event is done, how you carry that event, and how that event impacts your life. Now, let's say it's something literally where you've, served time for, or done something, you've made amends, or an addiction, or whatever that is. It's not like that's the end of your life. And this is where, I think that my spirituality really comes into play. There is a tomorrow. If you're doing your work, if you're doing what you need to do, and if you're, becoming an in balance with others and with yourself, then we move on. The why, that was a long time ago. That's in that chapter of your book, and there it is. And that I do want to point out, because a spiritual practice also helps us to overcome those things as well. So that, it's being in balance for me. That's how I look at it. And, I've worked with all sorts of different people, and at the end of the life, that's like this, that's what you're doing, right? You're balancing your scales, you're going through your whole thing. And it's really being at peace with your life.
And you know what I would say to Vicky as well? Keep trying, or I shouldn't say try. Keep saying "I love you" to yourself in the mirror, and sit with how you feel when you do that. Sit with how you feel, and that's why I always say meditate, because you're allowing yourself to sit quietly and just be in that moment, be present, So that's what I would say to Vicky. I think that's kind of a really important thing.
Yeah, I think
or practice to say, I guess, or find another affirmation for yourself and say that to yourself and then work up to I love you. It doesn't have to be all at that moment. So before we go any further, you guys are gonna laugh. Okay, so at the beginning, remember how I said I can't talk today? So apparently I'm forgetting things. So I forgot, and I am so sorry. I feel so bad about this, that I forgot to introduce Sky Stallman, who is EvolvMe's like tech guru. So Sky is the one dealing with us all. She's the one putting this all together. So thank you, Sky, for everything. And then also Rachel Russell is EvolvMe's enlightenment coordinator, and she is on there helping to coordinate everything too. So I'm sorry I didn't introduce you at the beginning.
Rachel and Sky save us daily. They save us all the time.
I'm the Oz voice on the stream. Real quick, we have another. I think you see me just pop in and interrupt one of you guys. It's because I'd love to get some of these chat comments in real quick. On the YouTube chat, we had a really interesting, it's not a question, it was more of a comment that I thought was really interesting from Jack's Law 2.0. They said, well, some people will see that energy, like taking on that why as a task, but others will see it as a journey worth taking. And I just thought that was a really interesting comment, that like there's two approaches to this. Hold on, TikTok says they can't hear me. Let me fix this. So yeah, there's like two approaches that somebody can take to the way that they approach this. And I think that's just really interesting.
And that makes a ton of sense, because if you, the other thing with all of the things that we're saying, some things you're going to be ready for, and some things you're not going to be ready for. And you again, we work ourselves up to those bigger things. Like you can't face the giant trauma that's been plaguing you your whole life all at once. You do those little things, and you know, we all have them. When you're ready, you'll get there.
So baby step.
Yeah, that's a great comment though.
Yes.
That definitely speaks to the fact that like what LA over there was saying. She said that oh God, it just flew out of my head. Oh,
doesn't have to be so dramatic. Is that what you were going to say?
I was just talking about how, just those little things, and like, you just, oh gosh, I can't even remember. I just lost it. I literally, it just went, it's over there somewhere. Come back here.
So I'll jump in because
yes,
I want to share with you guys this poem. And somebody shared it with me last week, and it just blew my mind. Okay. It is a poem. It's not really, really long. So that's okay. And it's called A Smile, and it's by Anonymous. Okay. So if you just bear with me, let me read this. It says, a smile costs nothing, but gives much. It takes but a moment, but the memory of it usually lasts forever. None are so rich that can get along without it. And none are so poor, but that can be made rich by it. It enriches those who receive without making poor those who give. It creates sunshine in the home, fosters goodwill in business, and is the best antidote for trouble. And yet it cannot be begged, borrowed, or stolen, for it is of no value, unless it is freely given away. Some people are too busy to give you a smile. Give them one of yours. For the good Lord knows that no one needs a smile so badly as he or she who has no more smiles left to give. Oh my God.
That's really good. Don't cry. Don't do it.
Very good.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Yeah. And it reminds me, Lori, that as a teacher, I worked for a special school called Green Chimneys. That was a nature and animal-based therapy program. But I had a philosophy that was very spiritual. And so I would do prayers all my way to school. I'd have a starting point, right? Because then it would take out of my head all the nonsense.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I would do this prayer. Thank you to the water. Thank you. I would do this whole thing. And then I would get to the property and I had to go up a mountain, a little mountain to get up there. And now I would thank the actual school itself. And I would thank the land and I would thank all the spirits of the land. And then when I would get into the classroom, I would be much more settled because my students didn't need me being a mess, right? They needed me to be present because I'm working with kids on the spectrum, kids with emotional, all sorts of different things, kids who can't control their anger. And what I found as I did this, as I practiced this more and more, I call it, teaching with aloha and teaching with love in my heart and everything, being present, is that their response to that was that they were able to be calmer. And the smile was definitely a piece of that. I would, smile at them. And part of that philosophy was that so let's say that they have a blowout in first period math, right? Because they hate math and it's really hard. And then we would, give the break, we do all of our stuff, but it wouldn't carry over for the whole day unless they couldn't let go of it and they needed extra support. But the idea was that you're not being, impacted for the whole day by one thing you did at 8:30 in the morning. And so this is important in the spirituality too, because I found that in the systems we work in, that, we get so like, you're a teacher, you're frustrated. He won't stay still. He keeps walking around. He keeps bumping into his thing. And so what happens is you're not letting go. You're holding on to that. Now that's impacting your relationship with that child. And so now it just feeds off of that. And this is what we do all the time in our relationships. And what I found is when we can stay in maintenance with ourselves, we can feel emotions, but now we develop practices to allow us to cope positively with our emotions or deal with a way to leave and, go grab a rock and put my breath in a rock and throw it away or whatever, go put my hand on a tree, whatever. And that is so important because that's a huge part of my spiritual practice, and especially as a teacher and how I worked with the kids. And I had, crystals in the classroom too, but it's about how we interact with others and how we manage our own emotions.
I love that. Staying in maintenance. Like that is, you just blew my mind. I was like, wow. Yeah, very cool.
And it's those small things, that can make a difference for somebody else's life. Your children in your class, that made a difference to them. When you see somebody on the side of the road or in a store or whatever, and some people have the RBF, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? The resting bitch face, right? I'm like the queen of that. I've got my husband used to think I was like angry, and I wasn't. I was just RBF, right? But all it takes is like a smile.
Yeah.
And it can change everything.
Right.
And that is our love. That is our heart giving freely to the world.
And the awareness of that, Lori, is really important because, yes, because, a kid, how many times this happened to me? Why are you mad at me, Miss Shepherd? Why are you so mad at me? And I said, I'm not mad at you unless you are. Do you see the look you just gave me?
Right, yeah.
And I'm going, no, why are you laughing at me? I'm not laughing at you. Now, I might have been going, yeah, but, it's like, but it's like I had to create such an awareness of my facial, what I was doing. And so I have to say I had the best teacher of all. It was those kids, and those kids are the ones that were, and then, you do a lot of prayer when you're in an environment like that. Please, dear God, just get me through this next 15 minutes.
Well, it's amazing how much we can learn from kids too. I mean, you look at kids when they're young, look at their belief systems. It's simply who they think they are. And you look at yourself as you grow up and the beliefs you have then or now. I think that's really part of the spiritual journey, is looking at your beliefs and asking yourself, is this something I truly believe, or was this something that someone told me?
Yeah.
Because if this isn't something I truly believe, then I shit can it. Get rid,
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
something, you know, your ex said, or my dad said, or my teacher said. Is it something I really believe? No, then get rid of it. Get rid of it. If it's not serving you, if it's not serving your highest good, if it's not making you happy, if it's not bringing you joy, if it's not making you smile,
Yeah.
like you can't, yeah. If you can't look yourself in the eyes, that's something, a big thing to look in the mirror and look yourself in the eyes and say that belief and see how it makes you feel. If you look away, that shit ain't resonating with you, you know?
Right. Yeah.
If you can hold your gaze on your eyes while you're saying these things, I love you, I'm strong, I'm this. And if you feel yourself looking away, there's something there to work on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you guys. What would you say is your, I don't want to say best, but most effective affirmation that you use for you? That's a good question. That might be hard. Sorry, but what is your most,
think-
come on, Derek. I know you
I
know
think
it.
Annette already said it before. It's the gratitude. Mine is love and gratitude. Love and gratitude. You know, I send love and gratitude to God. I send love and gratitude to the four elements.
Yeah.
I send love and gratitude to everything I have. Because, like Annette was saying, even when you're down in your darkest time, if that alarm goes off in the morning, you reach over, shut your alarm off. Be grateful you can reach over and even shut your alarm off.
Yeah.
Be grateful you even have an alarm. Be grateful for you even have a bed.
Yeah.
Be grateful you can even get up. You can be grateful you even have shoes, because a lot of people don't.
Mhm.
Be grateful you can even speak, because a lot of people can't. Be grateful you can even walk, because a lot of people can't.
Yep.
When we stop and think about it, there are so many things that we just take for granted so much that we can absolutely be immensely grateful for.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think, taking moments and just thanking for all those small things. I say small, but they're really not, because
Mm.
if I lost my leg today, it'd take a long time to get used to that. So thank yourself. If you got 2 legs that work, thank yourself. If you got freaking 10 fingers, say thank you for that. And just like you say, love yourself. I love these fingers. You know, I got this patch of balding. I love this little spot. You know, I mean, you got a pimple on your face. Damn, I love you. You had character. I mean, love all those things. Because like you say, what you resist persists. Well, what you damns you back. So love all. Shit, what's the other option?
Yeah. I love that. I mean, I
The
think,
other option is fear. Yeah. Go ahead. Sam.
yeah, that's true. The other option is fear and like just shrinking into yourself. I will say, I'm with Derek. Like I'm always very grateful, and I always like when I was preparing a chicken to roast, and I was like, oh God, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Thank you for feeding my family. I just like, I love chicken, but like I just always I'm like thanking these animals that were alive, and you know, we're carnivores, but we do like, but I'm always just being grateful because for their lives, for their spirit, and they're feeding me, they're feeding my family. The scraps feed my dogs. You know what I mean? Like it's just like this whole thing, and I'm always grateful for that. And in my family, you know, the men die young. Like we have heart disease, and I am so grateful. Like my whole life, as an athlete, I always was worried that I was going to drop dead. I'm not even shitting you, like for real. I thought I was going to drop dead at any point. And like, now I'm 52. Now I'm 52. I made it to 52. You know, like my dad died when he was 41. 41. Like I made it, you know what I mean? So that I'm always grateful for. And I will say, the other, when you're asking like the thing that you tell yourself, when I started dating my dumb husband, Like he'd always say, honey, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And like he just would always say that. And I'd be like, oh my God, it's not going to be great. But like now that is like the catchphrase, it's always like, it's going to be great. Like, it's going to be great. Don't worry. It's going to be great. And it's just like that's like the affirmation. And I think about that now and I'm like, that's a total affirmation.
Yeah.
We've made into this joke that we say constantly. My niece made me this awesome cup that said, you probably saw me drinking out of it. It says it's going to be great because we say it so much. And it's like, it's just, it makes me laugh. But, when I think about it, it's this affirmation, like everything's going to be okay. And like, that's really, truly what people need to hear. Like when people that come to me for readings or to talk or with issues, like, why can't I this, like, what's going on? They really just need to hear, like, you're okay. Like everything's going to be okay. And it's just those little things that you say. So I think, I can't always say it's going to be great to people, but just that it's going to be okay. Like everything's going to be okay, regardless. And all the things that are coming for you will come for you. They are coming for you. So those are kind of my affirmations that I say.
I'm sorry, but then I want to go, they're coming to take you away. Haha, they're coming to take you away.
What?
They're coming for you.
That's from a movie.
Well, they're not coming to take you away, but I mean, in that good spiritual way.
And that is like for me, silly songs, and it changes and like I did a TikTok video and last week or so, or maybe it was on Instagram, and one of my ex-students saw it, and I was having coffee with him, and he said, Miss Sheffer, he said, I had to, he's in college, and I said, I had to show that to my mom, because I go, Mom, look, Miss Sheffer's at it again, she's singing again. And it was like something like, you are so beautiful to me. And it was just so funny, because one of my other students was there too, and he goes, oh, I hate it when you sing, and I said, well, tough nuts, I'm singing anyway. That's what I would literally tell them. And for me, it's like that, bringing in that energy of a silly song, or like the Barney song, I love you.
I know, that's a great one. That's
so they may not have liked it, but they remember it. They remember you for it. They remember it. They remember why you did it.
And that's what I use it myself too, right? I sing to myself all the time, and I bring in affirmations through wonderful little silly songs.
Yeah.
You just reminded me of when my daughter was a baby. So I was a singer. I was a professional singer. And if there's one thing, like literally, this is like the one thing in my life that I am truly confident in is my singing, right? Like that was truly the only thing, right?
Another workshop.
Yeah, another.
I'm just kidding.
Right. But so I'll never forget. I was sitting actually in this room. I was rocking her and I was singing, thinking, oh, this is such a great mommy daughter bonding moment. She goes, Mom, you really need to stop singing, please. Oh my God. She was like 2 or 3. And I'm like, no. She's like, stop.
That's so funny.
Oh my God.
But they reminded me of that. But the reason why I'm saying that story is because I remember that because, we have to believe it in our own hearts. We have to believe our own greatness, in our own hearts. I mean, she's my daughter. She was a baby, at the time. Now she's 26. But, it's like, she was a child and she was just saying because she didn't want it, she wanted silence. There you go. But I, at that moment, made it like, oh my God, I suck at singing, blah, 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 whatever. And now it's like, I look back and I think, you know what? It's all in our own mind. It's all in our own mind, whatever it, how we look at ourselves. So anyway,
Yeah.
and Nat, I'm dying to hear what your affirmation would be. Like, what do you like to say to
Girl,
yourself?
let's hear it. I know it's gonna be good.
I know, right? So much pressure on the poor lady.
No, she doesn't care about pressure. It doesn't matter. She's always on point. Always. Those
Well, actually, there are two affirmations that I really do a lot now. Right now, I don't have one particular one for all time, but there are two that are very powerful for me right now. And one is the beginning is right here where I am, not over there where I want to be. So it helps me to hone in on this moment, what's happening right here with me right now, because this is the only place that I can start from is right here. Now I can't start over there where I'm trying to get to. I can only start with right here. And so that helps to reset me. And there's one that I say from Kyra book, the Sophia Code, it's really powerful for me. And it's Divine Mother of all life, take me to that place deep within your womb where I can know nothing and be reborn anew.
Oh.
And that's powerful for me because it just encompasses it all, you know, to that place where I can know nothing. And then everything is open to me. I can be born anew into all that there is and whatever that happens to be in the moment. So those two right now really help center me and refocus me.
Yeah. Wow.
I told you, Lori.
So powerful. That's so powerful, though.
That's amazing.
We really do have to make ourselves empty. We have to drop all the old belief system, all our limitations to really be reborn into our highest self, to remember our trueness, our light, our love, our grandness. And that's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, that is absolutely beautiful.
Told you, man.
I gotta go, guys. I'm sorry. It's my daughter's birthday, and they just got here. So
thank you for being on for a little bit.
Yay.
Yeah, I love y'all.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all.
Happy birthday to her.
Yeah,
happy birthday
to your daughter.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that's so sweet that he stayed on waiting for them. That's really nice.
I know.
Yeah, I told you, and that is so insightful. She always nails it, right? Hits it out of the park. That was beautiful, Annette. Like, really, truly. It just.
Okay.
Can anybody get the book? Like, is the book for sale, the Sophia Code?
Yeah, anybody can get it. You can buy it at any bookstore, and Amazon has it, and it's everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like that could be another one on my list. Of course, I have all these books sitting over here.
I know. We got a shelf behind me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
But that one, like, you keep talking about it, and it keeps coming up, and I'm like, I might have to dig into that. So.
Well, and if you want to take my course in my class in A Journey Through the Sophia Code.
Ooh, when is that?
Well, I'm going to probably restart it when we do our grand opening in July.
That sounds good.
Awesome. Yeah, because the actual launch for EvolvMe is, what's the date? July 18th?
16th or 18th?
I think the 18th.
Yeah.
The 18th. Yeah.
That's the big launch of EvolvMe, which we're all practitioners on. And there are tons of other practitioners on EvolvMe, like shamanic practitioners, psychic mediums, healers, Reiki masters. What else?
Tarot card readers.
Card readers, yeah. People, pendulums, because we suck at pendulums. But like, there's a ton of practitioners on EvolvMe. So find your way over there and just sign yourself up and just check out the practitioners, because there's I'm always so fascinated at what everyone is capable of, you know, but and they will help you dig into your spiritual self and you know, find those things that lead you to you know, move forward in a spiritual way.
Yeah.
Every day. And it doesn't have to be this big spiritual thing. Like, I am spiritual, people, because I'm not like that. I'm very blunt. I'm very straightforward, regular person going about my day. But for myself, and I know for all of you, we just do those little steps to try to move forward and to be better and make ourselves better and make other people better, and to continue doing that throughout your life, because you know, we all need to do that every day. It's never going to change. Like that fact's never going to change. That's always going to be a goal for me anyway.
What I love about that too is that, and it's so funny because, okay, so I'm 58. And when I was when I was between, I don't know, somewhere between 45 and 50, I started to realize that I am a spiritual being having a human experience. And guess what? It's okay to experience the humanity.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
like I used to feel so guilty because I loved my wine, you know, and yes, I'll just say it. I loved my tequila too. Fine. I'll just say it. But
I love tequila also.
right?
Yeah.
We call it happy juice in our house. But the thing is, I used to feel so guilty because, you know, people, oh no, I don't drink because, you know, whatever. And that's fine. If it's for them, you go do what you need to do. But I'm done. I remember thinking this one day. I'm done feeling guilty for what pleases me, you know?
Yeah.
I'm done feeling guilty for liking wine.
Well, and those feelings are not coming from you. You're feeling that way because of society's pressure, other spiritual people. And if they were spiritual, they wouldn't try to make you feel like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we need to leave each other alone.
Yeah.
Leave each other alone to their own journey, to their own spirituality, to their own little things that they have to work on. And if you're past that little thing that person is still working on, leave them alone.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Yeah. Or it's just different decisions sometimes, you know, it's like, yeah, the alcohol one, I think is you hear that all the time, and it's interesting, and we all, even as practitioners, have our own way of, like, you know, my philosophy, I will not have alcohol if I know I'm going to work spiritually.
Absolutely.
And I don't either.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot of us, but there's nothing wrong with, you know, going out to dinner and you know, having a glass of wine, or so it's that what you are doing with yourself. It's like these agreements, you're working on yourself, you know, your boundaries, you know what you're doing, and that is, you know, what is important, because none of us are the same. We all are different. And so yeah, I like that, Lori, because it's, you know, it's you know, you know who you are, and that's what's key.
And you know what? It took me so long to get there. And it's so funny because my daughter, who I said is 26, she is one of the, I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, anybody else isn't a great tarot card reader. She is a really good tarot card reader. And she has been a medium. Like, I've known that she's a medium since she was like 8. And it makes me crazy because I think to myself, if I had just known then what I know now, you know, and I could go down that road. Isn't it easy to go down that road? And of course, I try really hard not to go down that road anymore, because all of my experiences, however crappy they were and however non-spiritual they were, led me to this point. And so I get it. And I'm so grateful for my entire life as a whole, because I've had some really weird things happen to me, right?
And girl, that is why you are her. Yeah, that's why you're her mother, so that she doesn't have to struggle the way you did to get through or like to figure stuff out. That's why. You got her there. Yeah. And I know you don't, like, you're probably like me, like, no, she's her own person. Like, I get that, but you got her there.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we can only be for our kids, we can only be the example. We can't,
Yeah.
I can't make her do anything.
Yeah.
That's just it. I can't.
No,
make her-
and that is so true. And I had a reminder of this teaching. I was the first one in my family to go to college, first one to graduate from high school and go to college. And so when it came time for, my nieces and nephews, of course, I want them all to go to college and I had to release that. And I had to say, I'm here to assist you however you want to be assisted. And I had to release that because who am I to say how for you to live your life or what is right for you or for your path? And that was huge for me because especially our generation, it was like there was this pathway you were supposed to take and it was, and through this one particular niece of mine was the real teaching. And I said, look, don't stop calling me because you think I'm going to judge you because I'm not. I'm just here for you no matter what. I'm not judging you. Your path is your path, and I'm here for you on that path. And that is I think a huge piece of spirituality too, is letting each other be and saying, I'll walk beside you on your path. I'll even turn on my big lighter and give me a little light. Remember that from Rocky Horror Picture Show? Shine.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? My favorite thing in the world when I was in high school was Rocky Horror Picture Show. I kid you not. Oh my God. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, I have definitely.
Of
But yeah,
course.
shining the light. There you go. Shine that light.
Light.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't even know, whatever.
And Lori, seriously, what a gift you probably gave to your niece to
Yeah.
because then you let her release that pressure and be like, oh, my path is okay too. You know what I mean? Like that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of people wouldn't think of that. They'll be like, oh, because now I've got kids and some of them college is their thing, some of them tech school is their thing, some of them neither is their thing. And when I was growing up, you go to high school and then you go to college and that's your path to success and that was it. And now that's not the case. I mean, I don't think it ever has been the case. It was just what was forced down your throat.
Yeah.
So I've had to let go of that too, where I'm like, if college doesn't work for you, don't go. I really want you to be happy. I don't want you to force yourself through this torturous 4 years where you're miserable and anxious and so that I feel like you did good. Like that's not my goal as a parent. So I had to let go of the same thing. I know what you're talking about. Because it's still I still have to remind myself it doesn't matter. They're great. My kids are great and they're happy and they're gonna be successful.
Really quick, guys. Quick question. Hold on, let me just make sure TikTok can hear me. So quick question. I would love to know is what are some ways that your kids have challenged your worldview as you've gotten older? I come from a evangelical experience, and I know that a lot of my relationship with my mother has been very much like I've kind of functioned as a foil in some ways, and I'm not in a bad way, but really challenged and compelled her to grow, and both my parents. So I'd love to know how your kids done that for you guys.
Oh, I can totally answer this.
Go for it.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so I have always been I think love is love. And Lori, I think you're going to appreciate, I hope you appreciate this anyway. Love is love is love. I don't care if it's who it's between. I never have, right? So about, I think it was 4 years ago, my daughter comes forward and says, I'm dating a girl. And I said, that's great. She didn't get, first of all, there was another whole side story in that she didn't get the reaction that she wanted. She was thinking that there was going to be a reaction. And I was like, I think that's great. But I will say, it took me a minute because it came out of nowhere. I had no idea that was coming down the pike, right? But what's interesting is that I had to and I had always thought love is love is love, but I had to sit back and think that through for another minute. Wait a minute. Wow. It's in my life now. And I'm so glad that it is. And I love her no matter what. I love her girlfriend. It's never a problem, right? But it took me, she made me see for real. Like, this is like real life. This isn't just like thinking, oh yeah, love is love, you know? No, this is like our real life now, you know?
Yeah.
So I hope I said that right. And I hope that made sense.
Absolutely.
You did a great job.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, it really made me think to myself, okay, Lori, put your money where your mouth is. Are you sure you believe that? Yes, I do. Of course I do. But it took me a minute because I was like, whoa, you know, so very interesting. What about you guys?
That no, and I totally get that, because when it's in, you process it in one way, but then when it comes close, it's like when someone is ill or they get cancer, like, oh no, oh cancer, that's so sad. And then when someone gets cancer, it's a whole different ballgame. You're like, holy shit, it's me now. But so I totally get that. For my kids, I would say, what was the question, Sky? How did they change my
How
views?
did they make you look at life differently?
Oh,
In what ways did they challenge you?
Oh, challenge.
oh, okay. So I am this weird, crazy mom. I live my life for my kids. My kids have called me a helicopter mom. I am not, but
Yes,
I'm like,
you are.
I could be
I'm just
so
kidding.
bad. I could be so bad. You have no idea. But my life is them. They are my life. They're the best things I've ever done. They're the best success I've ever had. And people always say, oh, you're such a good mom. Oh my gosh, you always think of the things you do, all of the things about what a great mom I am, and my kids are great and whatever. And I'm like, whoa, I always say, like, and I truly mean this. They came that way. Like, they came that way. They came as their own people, and they came each with their own, they're just amazing. Like, and I know every parent will say that, but I'm just talking about myself. Like, I learned from them. You know what I mean? Like, what did they teach you? Like, everything. Because they each have their view, and I learned to allow them that, because you don't have to do that, but I learned to allow their views. I remember when my daughter was like 7, and she's so great. She's just the coolest kid. But like when she was 7, she had these like plaid shorts on, and she had this paisley shirt, and she walks out, and I was like, ooh, like, that's a little crazy. I'm like, you want to maybe put a solid shirt on, or maybe some solid shorts on, so that you don't have so much going on. And she goes, why?
I love it.
And I said, well, that'd be easier on other people's eyes. It's just a little kind of crazy design. And she goes, why? And in that moment, like, I will never forget that moment, because I was like, why? And I said,
Why?
are you fine with what you're wearing? And she goes, yeah. And I said, then so am I. Let's go. You know what I mean? But like, it's those little moments that, and she continues to be that kid. Like, she's amazing. And my sons each have their own things. Like, they just, everything. They teach me everything, and the thing is that, when you allow it and you actually stop, like, I'm so proud of myself in that moment where I was like, not go get a different shirt on. You know what I mean? I didn't do that. I was like, why am I making it? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares what she wears? She's dressed. She's appropriate. I mean, it's crazy. And she went to school and she was fine. And, the teachers were like, oh, I see Emma dressed herself. And I was like, yep, I think she looks great. You know what I mean? But like, it's those little moments, I think. And it's in each of their lives, and it's every freaking day they say something where I'm like, oh my God, like, how did I get them? You know what I mean? I could start crying right now, but it's like, how did I get so lucky? And you just allow it and you say yes. So they teach me everything every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. They're so great. But Annette, Lori, we know you have a ton of kids in classes.
Yeah, I do, but Annette, and you're a grandma too, Annette. So you got
Oh my
that going on.
Yeah, I sure do. But I was thinking in terms of my kids, and I think that the biggest thing that my kids taught me was how to stand up for them. And my oldest daughter was diagnosed with OCD when she was like, I think she probably had it in kindergarten. And it just took a while for me to say something is really off here. And so there was this process of having to kind of go against the grain of, oh, she's just a kid and you just need to be more stern and make her do this and tell her she has to do that. And it wasn't working. And I just could feel within myself that something wasn't right. But when I grew up, I didn't have people to stand up for me. So I really didn't have that experience of being stood up for. It was like I was kind of out there not knowing which way to go for myself. So it taught me, her condition taught me how to stand up for her. And today she's 41 and she's a mother and she's just all over the place. Like, she's so talented and she's so enthusiastic, a little bit over the top when she gets frustrated, but like she's she's like exceptional. Like, she's entrepreneurial, she's a photographer. She just has her hands in so many things and is so good at what she does. And she taught me how to stand up for her. And my youngest one was just kind of really just the opposite of her. She was like, why do I have to do it that way? Well, no, I didn't do that. And one time she got in trouble at school for going to the bathroom. And I had told her from an incident my older daughter had. I said, if you have to go to the bathroom at school and you ask your teacher, always ask your teacher, but if your teacher tells you no, you go anyway, and then I'll handle it from there. Yeah. And so they taught me how to stand up for them in ways that I didn't have that as a kid. And now I think they're both great.
Yeah, isn't that so cool how it's like they taught you how to advocate when you didn't know. Like I was the same way, and I was the kid that I was so obedient. It's funny that you say that. I was so obedient that I didn't go to the bathroom because they wouldn't let me go, and I wet my pants in class.
Oh,
that's how obedient I was.
Why would the teacher say no, you can't go?
Well, that's what happened to
They ignored
my
me,
oldest one.
and it happens. Yeah. And I know she felt terrible, but like, if anyone had told me, like, if you need to go, just go. Like, I was so obedient, and that was like a huge thing when I was young. I was mortified.
It's different now, but I want to say, with my nieces and nephews, there has been some addiction in this generation, and so, one of the teachings for me was that. Well, and as they would go into recovery, it's accepting them just as they were, because the shame that is in the addiction, when you think of the addiction and everything that goes into it, and the shame, and it was the greatest teacher in just allowing, no matter what happened during that period of addiction, no matter what happened, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And in removing all judgment, removing that, and just saying, I'm just here. I just love you, and I'm not going to judge you, and I'm present for you. And I remember, for one of them, as they were coming out the other side in recovery, we my wife and I went crazy. We went to the crystal warehouse and we bought all these crystals, and it was awesome because we bought the whole jewelry kit and everything. Was this particular one really that became a tool for them to be able to using the crystals and looking up what they meant, and that was our way of saying we accept you, we love you, and we're present for you. And as we raise other people's kids, but the idea is in a family that kids need, more than just mom and dad or grandma and grandpa. When you're a family, when you all those aunts and uncles and neighbors and whatever, they matter. And that is a piece of it. And I don't think everybody feels that way anymore. I don't think that aunts and uncles, the way it's working right now, it's not like it used to be. And so we've tried to be old school and to be there for them and to play that role, and just acceptance and love. That is the key.
I agree. Good question, Sky.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll just take a moment really quick. We're probably going to be wrapping up soon, but if there's anyone on TikTok or YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching us, if you have questions, just put them in the chat, and we have people watching. Like, we can answer any questions if there's anything that you've been sitting on.
Watching.
What?
We have people watching.
I know we have people watching you. But definitely put your and always feel free to put your questions in the chat. We'll get to them. We have watchers watching you.
We've got watchers.
It's another song. Somebody's watching you.
Yeah.
I do want to say something really quickly in reference to what we were talking about earlier, in terms of people finding a way to tap into their spirituality. I wanted to say that, and this is just based on my own experience, that sometimes it feels so overwhelming life feels so overwhelming that it's hard to know which way to go in any given moment. And it really is okay to reach out for help, and receive the help that you need. It's not like, well, you have to get to a certain level of spiritual awareness in order to, move along a path of spirituality. Your humanness is part of your spirituality. And so it's really important to pay attention to who you are as a human. It's like, it's not just letting that go or casting it to the side. It's like fully embracing that aspect of your humanity and honor that. And if as your human self, you feel that you need some help, you need someone to help you through something that you're going through, it really is absolutely okay and very, very good to reach out in that way.
That's awesome. Very true.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's important. It's important to reach out, because by doing that, you help yourself, you help other people. When you open your mouth and talk about things that are bothering you, that you need help with, and you talk to other people realize that they're not alone. You realize you're not alone. Like, those are great words in that.
Yeah, it helps to free you from that heaviness of keeping it all inside.
Right. And, and that jumps into, if no one has asked question, I just want to talk about the land, and I want to talk about the gratitude for, like if you're a gardener, if you're, mowing your lawn, or you're outside. And for me, it's one of the greatest spiritual parts of my life. And literally we do a blessing for the garden every single year. We give blessing and gratitude. And I walk around almost, when it's nice out with my cup of coffee or my cup of tea, I'm out there walking the entire yard and just, checking it out and just allowing that love to drop through my feet. And it comes back tenfold. And because there's this tremendous connection with the land. And so that is just a huge one. And knowing that this house may be made of wood and it may be on bricks, but underneath is the foundation. And that foundation is embedded in the rock, is embedded in this earth. And then understanding that this is my foundation. Yeah, and that, you know, I work with the land here and we work in balance with each other. And the land is such a huge part of who I am. And so that plays a large role in my daily sustenance.
That's great. I love that. My kids were just making fun of me because I was talking to the tree.
Just to hop in, I think something that is also because Annette, when you were saying about how it can be really overwhelming and like it's like you feel like you're going to the ocean with a teaspoon, especially when you're trying to figure out where you're going, like spiritually, what do you know, why, like who are you in this universe, right? I think something for me that because when you come from a really like ridiculously and a lot of us have this experience coming from organized religion of like once you shed that, then you have like a little existential crisis because you're like, oh no, like what's happening. And like I think something that really helped me was coming to an understanding that like the best position to be in is to always be a student and to always understand that like be okay with the fact that you may never find that answer, and that is okay. Like you will what the answer is the journey. And like being a student and looking around at like other people's human experiences and asking for help and asking questions is like the only way you're gonna really navigate that void of what it feels, you know, it feels like a void.
Yeah, that's true.
That's amazing. Wow, that was really insightful, Sky. That was amazing.
Yeah. And also, again, if anyone's struggling with these questions, if you have, if you're trying to figure out your spirituality, how to move forward, again, EvolvMe, we're all practitioners on EvolvMe. You're welcome to come find us or the other amazing people on that site.
And for those watching, EvolvMe is free to join, and each one of these practitioners has a ton of incredible resources that you can dive into right away. So go ahead, go to the link in our bio and get started checking out all the really cool resources that these guys have put together for you.
And I want to say something too. You know, yeah, you have to sign up. So what? You sign up and then you're like part of the family. So,
right, and you sign up free.
And the sign up is free. So just here's me. Just do it already.
Yeah,
sign up so you can see us all.
Yeah, you know, because I offer a free intro session, and it's interesting that people contact me, but you know, you can follow through with that and through EvolvMe, and I'm not the only one who does that. But I also want to say this whole the concept of spirituality we've been talking about. We on Sam and I, another practitioner on EvolvMe, have a group on Thursday nights for the queer community, and this is exactly what we do. You know, Sky was talking about that. What happens when you're not accepted in that organized religion, and they're for everybody this is an issue, but there's so many in the queer community have, I mean, I get like so welled up because lately I've heard a lot of stories, and it's like it's traumatic. I mean, that to this day it's like you're being told you're evil, you're being shut out, your parents are literally giving you ultimatum, and this is 2023. So what is nice is we have this group, and you know, and it's not heavy at all. We actually get in there and we have just fun conversations like in here, and we share and we talk, and it's a safe space to know you're loved and to know you matter and to help others be loved and feel loved and matter. So it's a really great place, and that's Thursday nights, 8 p.m. EST on EvolvMe, and then once again, it's free.
I love that. And I love the fact that when you talk about that trauma, it probably brings up a lot of your things that you've gone through, and you have so much insight to offer those people and these kids that are going through so much now. So
Yeah, thank you. And you know, we have the whole age gamut. It's fun. You know, from we've had as young as 25 and younger can come all the way up to me and all the way in between. And that's what is cool. And that is what is wonderful and beautifully and all sorts of spirituality practices, and some who are just beginning to dip their toe in, and others who've been doing spirituality for a very long time.
Love it.
I just wanted to say, Vicky just said, I have signed up, but I have a problem navigating the site to find a lot of the resources. So I
I
want to
just
say,
responded to that too. So sorry
you
to
did?
cut you off.
Oh, no, it's
For
fine.
anybody who has any questions, feel free to reach out to us on social media. We have a team who checks our DMs. And also you can email us at info@evolveme.com. This is still a brand new site in some ways. And so any feedback you guys have is absolutely much loved and much appreciated.
Yeah. Well,
And
and
it's so worth
too,
it.
there's a search button, and you can type in anything at the top if you want to, you know, if you want to type in tarot, or if you want to type in animal communicator or whatever, you know, you can do that. So
Right.
you can, you know, always know that there's a search bar. I always feel like I have to tell people that. I don't know why.
And
Well, no,
you know,
and
the
also
other thing is
practitioners.
it can be confusing with some of these terms, and a lot of us cross do different things.
Yeah.
And so that's really important. It can, you know, like you'll look at shamanic practitioner, I don't know what that is, but a lot of us do different things. I mean, like, you know, Lori over here also you do some shamanic work as well, right? But
Not really.
and as does, you know, and that but we all
I
do
will always defer to you, Lori.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. But it's a blend is what I was getting to. It's many of us are very blended in what we offer and we do. And so when you're trying to go through the services, I get it can be really hard. Intuitive, you know, you'll see intuitive and medium. And if you want more information on understanding those terms, then that's something we can always dive into that and explain all these terms better at some time during one of these.
That's a great idea for a show.
Absolutely.
Or a
And
talk
also,
show.
oh crap. Why do I keep doing that?
So Vicky said that
Oh, Lori.
she couldn't find the live. What?
What?
What happened?
I heard you, Melanie.
What did
Yeah.
you say? Did you say
Oh
that?
crap. She's crapping over there.
Yeah. Oh
Did you say
crap.
poop?
Yeah. Poop. No, I was just that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, so when you go to EvolvMe, you do register, which is also free. And all of the practitioners on there, different ones you can search, or you can just scroll through, and there's tons of free stuff. There's free readings, there's free, like a lot of the practitioners offer just a little snippet of what they do for free. So you can really get in there and sort of dive in and get a little sample of what there is out there, and that's really nice. And then, like, when you want to dig deep into something, then you look at their longer offerings, and then
Real quick.
you can pay.
Oh, so sorry. So
No, go
sorry
ahead.
to keep cutting you guys off. Real quick
No,
before
no.
we wrap, we have a question from the chat from Light Warrior Chris. How can you learn to trust your intuition? And I think this is a good final question before we call it a night.
That's a great question. You know what? As a medium myself, it's constant. You always have to keep reminding yourself to trust, and not only to trust yourself, to trust spirit, and to trust what you're getting. And everyone has intuition. Every single person on this planet has intuition. We just, in my opinion, it's been stomped down. And, you know, we talk ourselves out of things. That's just a coincidence. Like, I didn't know that. Yes, you did. It's constant. Just always keep, it's like one of those, another affirmation. Like, I'm going to trust myself today. If something doesn't feel right, it's not right. If you think it's time to leave, you know, like those, it's a constant, I'm a working medium, and I still have to remind myself to trust myself and to trust spirit. And I'm pretty sure we all can say that.
Well,
So
I think also
daily.
too, it is trusting your gut. I mean, I think that the sort of secular way of saying intuition is your gut instinct.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's kind of socially acceptable to say gut instinct, but that's the same thing as your intuition. So
Yeah, if that works better for you, use
Yeah.
that. But your gut, your intuition, your connection to spirit, like you also have a connection to spirit. The same, like I'm not special because I'm a medium. Everyone can connect to spirit. Everyone. So it's not easy. It's something, it's one of it was one of my biggest things, is to trust myself and to consistently keep telling myself to trust. And I'm sure Annette and Lori, you've had those moments as well where you're like, I really need to trust what I'm getting right now and what I'm feeling. A lot of feeling. People will discount what they're feeling in their gut, and those are the things you need to pay attention to.
And I say, I say also to myself that I trust that this, whatever it is that I'm about to do, is the right thing. Otherwise, I would choose something else. So whatever I do in that moment, I'm trusting that it's the right, even if it doesn't necessarily seem to make sense, but it's what came to me to do. I'm trusting that it was the right thing, even if it seems to not even turn out the way that I would hope for it to turn out. I'm trusting that it's all working together because we are spirit in form. So who we are within us is the intelligence of the universe. We can't get it wrong. We really can't get it wrong. So
Yeah.
just trust that I know you breathe and your heart beats and your organs do what they do, and you don't have anything to do with it consciously, but it all comes together and it works.
Yeah.
So you trust that. That's the trust right there.
Yeah, and I think that will lead to a bigger conversation somewhere down the line when you talk about these dark nights of the soul and things that happen to us. And I've had people say to me, if I only followed my instincts, that wouldn't have happened to me, right? But instead, I insisted I was going to do it that way, and then and then another thing will happen or whatever. I mean, almost all of us have those stories that we can tell you. Yeah, if only I had done what I knew in my gut I was supposed to do, but did I do that? No, because it didn't seem logical. So I instead did this, and then I got in a car accident 4 months later, and I couldn't do it anyway, or whatever, right? I mean, we all have those, but it's faith. And that's what I always say. It's just, pure faith. As a medium, you'll sometimes hear me use the term popcorn mediumship because whatever comes out. And you know what? Usually I'm right. And it can be the craziest thing.
That's when it's spirit. That's
Yeah.
when you know it's spirit, because you're letting it. I mean, you're the true medium at that point. It's coming in and then it's coming out. So
Yeah.
that's perfect.
It sounds crazy, but you're going, excuse me, this sounds really crazy, but they're telling me that ballerina shoes. And then somebody will say, oh, yes, I've always wanted a pair. My mother would never buy me them, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think this is why it's also really important to keep a journal and like write down the things that you see and you hear and your just spiritual experience, because you'll go back and like reflect and be like, oh crap, I definitely felt an intuition that I totally ignored, that little details that you might miss in the moment and not recall later. To become kind of a historian of your own experience in order to really look back and see all the pieces at play.
Absolutely.
Great
Brilliant
way to end
advice.
tonight.
Journaling
Oh my
is
God.
amazing. That's a great ending, Sky.
Thank you, Sky and Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody who came tonight. Let's all give it up for our practitioners. We have Annette, we have Melanie, we have Lori Sheffer and Lori Albert. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. And we will see you next week for the Evolving View, Monday nights, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.